Hi everyone, Sokoda here from Keep the Peace, and we're back with another LEGO set review. This time it's a LEGO Star Wars set, more specifically, set number 73562, Ahsoka Tano's T-6 Jedi Shuttle. We got this sent to us from the LEGO Ambassador Network, so big thank you to them. And this set has 601 pieces, goes for $79.99, €74.99, and £64.99. We'll take a look at everything that's inside of the set in this review. Let's start by taking a look at the minifigures. We have from left to right Ahsoka Tano, Hu Yang, Sabine Wren, and Merrick. And I want to say right off the gate, wow, these minifigures are fantastic. They basically have printing all around. All of them have front of the torso, front of the legs, and back of the torso. Ahsoka even gets arm printing, which is wonderful to see, and very important, I think, for her design in the show. Ahsoka also has a new piece for her montrails, which is also printed, and this is a bit of a more rubbery piece, and I really like what they did there. Hu Yang has a new droid head. I'm really glad they went with like a C-3PO style design and not like a battle droid build design. So he's more of a minifigure. He has this new molded head, which has some cool printing on it too. And he has this little bracket on the back with like a printed 1x1 tile, which represents his little back arms, which I don't think is perfect. It would be nice if you could move those, but I get it's a bit small to achieve that in a minifigure. I've seen some discussion about Hu Yang's color scheme. I think it's very accurate to his Clone Wars look, but in the show he's a bit more metallic, and it's a bit depending on the lighting in the show actually. Sometimes he looks more silvery, sometimes he looks more this color. So I personally don't really have too much of a problem with it, but I get where the discussion comes from. Sabine Wren has a new face print. I kinda wish they had like the little mole the actress has in the live action show to be a bit more accurate or specific to her, but I think they might want to reuse this face print for other characters in the future. She also has this cool purple hair, which I think is a really good hairpiece for that hairstyle. Merrick also is a wonderful minifigure. He uses that Inquisitor style armor piece they first used in the Kenobi sets. This one is also printed. He has a new helmet piece which looks really cool and would probably be really cool for Castle fans too. And I just really like the super detailed printing with all the little rust details he has on his armor. A lot of that is a bit hard to see because it's all very dark, but if you look at it closely it looks really nice. Here's how all of these figures look without their headgear and armor pieces. This gives you a better look at all that wonderful printing, especially for Merrick, for example. You can also see their faces a bit better. I've turned the alternate faces for Ahsoka and Sabine forward, where they're a bit more angry. For Merrick, you can see his very show-accurate, just fully black Lego head. And here's a better look at the back, where you can see the nice back printing. I think Ahsoka's orange could be a bit brighter, but I think overall it's okay. And just for completion, here's how Ahsoka and Sabine look with those alternate faces and their headgear pieces. But I also want to show you that this set also comes with a helmet for Sabine, which I think is amazing to get the headgear and helmet. And the helmet has some really cool printing on it too, with some metallic colors, this bright blue details. It looks very nice. It also has the rangefinder on top. You can flip forward, of course, as with like most Mandalorian helmets in LEGO. We also get a whole bunch of minifigure accessories in this set. Starting out with Ahsoka, we get two lightsabers with chrome hilts and those frosted, transparent, clear blades, which I think is the perfect representation of her white blades in the show. For Sabine, we get a double pack of accessories in a way. For her more Mandalorian gear, we get the two blasters, but we also get Ezra's green lightsaber for her more Jedi in training look. For Hu Yang, we on the one hand get this little wrench, where he maybe can build lightsabers with, but he also has some kind of weird toolbox where I'm actually not quite sure what it's supposed to be. For Merrick, we of course get the cool ring double-bladed helicopter Inquisitor lightsaber. I really like this piece, and I also really love how you can clip it to the back of this armor piece. Always really great to get that. Now, let's take a look at the T-6 shuttle itself. More specifically, this depicts Ahsoka's version of the shuttle, the T-6 1974, which she uses in the Ahsoka TV show, but it can also work as the Clone Wars version. The Clone Wars version wouldn't have any weaponry, but let's be real, it's more fun with the blasters. Overall, I think this looks really nice. I really like the shape of the ship, and it's very distinct from other Star Wars ships. I've seen some conversation about the color scheme, specifically if the gray parts should be white. And in Rebels and Clone Wars especially, it looks a lot more white. I think in the Ahsoka TV show it's a bit more weathered, so I think the gray kind of works, and I personally don't mind the gray. For the overall composition of the ship, we have the nice cockpit in the front with this big wing or fin section that can rotate. We'll look at that a bit later. We have the main body of the ship, and if we turn to the side, you can see some more details. In the back, we have the engines and the gunner turret. We'll look at all of that in a bit more detail, of course. We'll start here at the cockpit, which has a very nice printed windshield. I'm very glad this is a print and not a sticker, and I like the look of it a lot. You can very easily just flip open the cockpit, and we have this nice little bit of interior in here with a cool seat and a nice printed console in the front. We have this little leg separator panel here at the bottom, so you can just slide in your minifigure. So it's very easy to put in your pilot, and they are not connected by any studs. Sadly, this cockpit only fits one minifigure. The old version of this set could fit more minifigures, but the cockpit was a bit out of scale for the rest of the set. So it's a bit of an issue of looks versus usability of the set. There's also a bit of a problem if you want to use Hu Yang as your pilot, which he pilots the ship quite a bit in the show, but because of his like special molded head, you can't fully close the cockpit if you want to use him as the pilot, which is kind of sad. The cockpit is connected with an axle to the rest of the ship, while the wings are on this rotating plate. But before we move to the back, we also have two stud shooters here on the front, which are integrated really nicely, so I think they did a great job here. And they of course fire as usual. The top of the wings have some really nice coloration and patterning, which they pulled off with a bit of a mix of brick building and one big sticker on each side. I left a bit of a gap here so the bricks don't touch the stickers, but you can of course perfectly align them so there's no little bit of gray in there. The wings are really fun to build. They achieve this rounded shape with a lot of different wedge plates, and it never felt like you have to press the plates together too hard because there are like gaps in the middle layer, so it still feels very sturdy, but it's a good building experience. There are some small details like these black tiles and these little bars in the back. I sadly couldn't find out exactly what they're supposed to be in universe, but if there are any Star Wars vehicle experts watching, please let me know. I'd love to know that. Moving on to the body of the ship, here on the top we have this kind of fin looking part with some nice slopes and a sticker on this round tile representing the airlock. Underneath we also have some nice greeveling details, and all of the detail is also on the other side of course, including the sticker. On both sides we have these panels with some transparent tiles representing windows, and you can just flip them up to access the quote-unquote interior. In here we have some tiles and panels that let you kind of sort the minifigure accessories in there. On one side you can put all the heroes' lightsabers and Sabine's blasters. And on the other side you have a spot for Hu Yang's gearbox and Sabine's helmet. So it's quite nice that you can fit all of the heroes' gear in there. Sadly, you can't fit any minifigures in there. Not even laying down. I even tried to remove some of the parts, but there just isn't really a way to do it. You just can't close the panels. This for me is kind of a really big downside because you can basically just fit one minifigure in the cockpit and no one else. And that's not really great for a shuttle in my opinion. Here on the side of the body we have some more nice greeveling. There's also a 2x3 stickers on both of these tiles on the sides. I really like how this was connected. This was also another nice parts usage with those shield pieces. On the underside we have a similar fin, but this one has these big panels here. And you can just flip those out with like a bar and clip connection, and they create some kind of stand or landing gear, which is very much appreciated because it definitely helps the ship stand up a lot better than it would without them. Here's a look at the back of the ship, and you can see here there's this big Technic bar that kind of holds everything together. This set is very stable and swooshable, and that's of course because of that Technic construction. We can see the three big engines. I really like how they use this gunmetal round Technic piece here. And above it we have the little gunner position, which kind of gives you an idea how big the ship would have to be if it was in scale with minifigures. But I like how they included it. You can move the guns up and down on the sides. And here on the bottom we have an additional fourth engine. Now let's take a look at what kind of is the main feature of this build, which is the rotation of the wings. This is pretty simple. You can just rotate the wings from horizontal to vertical. It's super easy, but there's just one problem. The other side of the wings just has like no detail. It's pretty much just gray anti-studs and one red plate, and I think for a lot of LEGO ship it's kind of standard that the underside isn't really detail. But because of that rotation function, it's kind of like half of the ship is just undetailed. and that's just really unfortunate. I understand that this set wouldn't look as good as the other one because you'd basically just be working with anti-studs, but they could at least have tried a bit to make it look more accurate. The spinning function does work really good. You want to hold it in the very back so your fingers don't get in the way, and you also want to make sure that the landing gear is retracted. But once that's done, you can just freely spin around and do some really cool maneuvers, and it's actually a lot of fun. Here's a look at all the spare pieces. Most exciting is probably the extra lightsaber hilt. You of course also get some extra ammunition for the stud shooters, and a bunch of helmet gear because once again you get the full gear pack for Sabine's rangefinder. The instructions are fairly standard, it's just one booklet, there's a little progress bar with Ahsoka, and there's some ads for other LEGO sets in the back. Okay, now that we've taken a look at everything in the set, I want to give you my overall thoughts, but I want to kind of start out with why I was super excited for this set. I grew up watching Clone Wars and Rebels, I love those shows, and I was especially excited for this set because of 2 points. First, the figures. Sabine is one of my favorite Star Wars characters, and I was really excited to get this version of her as a minifigure. But I'm also very excited about Hu Yang. I'm a big Old Republic nerd, and Hu Yang kind of is technically an Old Republic droid, so I was super happy that we get a Lego minifigure of him. I would have never expected that from his short appearance in Clone Wars, but I mean, the live action show made it possible. And I'm also a big fan of the Merrick character design and the Ahsoka minifigure in this set. So the minifigures I was very excited about, and I can report I'm very happy with how they look in person. Those are some fantastic minifigure. The second point where I was very excited for this set is the shuttle itself. When I was young, I really wanted the old T-6 Jedi Shuttle, but I sadly missed out on it. So I'm very happy that I got another chance to own this ship because I really like the ship design in Star Wars. But how does the set itself hold up in person? And well, I think your perspective might be a bit different depending on how you plan to use this set. So I'll explain a bit. If you're a LEGO set collector who just cares about having a cool building experience, buying your set, building it, and then putting it on your shelf and have it look cool, I think this set is fine. It does what you want it to. The building experience for the set is really fun. I really liked how it was built with this rotating wing function, the paneling, some very smart ideas how it was built. And I think if you look at the angles you're intended to look at it, like this or this, it looks really good with the shaping of those colors. The problem just comes once you see this side. It's definitely not intended to be looked at from this side. And I mean, it's kind of like the old one also didn't look great from the other side. But I would have wished that after these years, maybe LEGO would put at least some plates on there to emulate those red shapes. And that kind of leads into the second point. If you want this as a playset, I feel like there are some big problems here. When I played with my LEGO Star Wars sets, with my ships as a kid, I really liked to put my heroes in there, fly them from one place to another, let them land, go out. And that's not really possible because you can only really fit one minifigure in there. I really would have wished they had some bit more space in here so you can at least lay down one minifigure on each side and you can transport them in the shuttle. And also if you're gonna play with it, you're gonna see this side a lot because of the big rotation feature, which is kind of the big point of this ship. This is the coolest function this ship has. And that's gonna be a lot more obvious the more you move it around. Overall, I just want to say also the price is quite steep. I'd excuse most of these problems if the price was a bit better. But for especially the dollar price, $79.99 for 600 pieces, I thought it would be a bit bigger when I saw the pictures. I don't think it's super small, and I like the look of it in general and how it feels if you hold it. But I would have expected a bit more for that price. I think the pound price and the euro price seem a bit better. But overall, I still think it's a bit too expensive. And that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think about the set. Are you going to pick it up? Are the figures worth it for you? What do you think? Do you think LEGO should have tiled this up and maybe increased the price if they did? What are your opinions? Let us know in the comments below. Once again, thank you to the LEGO Ambassador Network for sending us this set. And I hope you come back for more fun LEGO videos here on Keep the Peace.